Good evening everyone, I am Chiza Cataquiz Quilang and I am here to discuss about the unfair labor practice. So first, let us define what is unfair labor practice. Unfair labor practice are the offense committed by the employer or labor organization which violate the constitutional rights of worker and employer to self-organization. Unfair Labor Act are inimical to legitimate interests of both labor management, disrupt industrial peace, and hinder the promotion of healthy and stable labor management relation in the Article 248 of Labor Code as amended. Unfair labor practice can be committed by the employer and the labor union. Let's now proceed the nature of unfair labor practice. Unfair labor practice is not only violation of civil rights of both labor and management, but also a criminal. Unfair labor practice cases may be filed with the regular courts. No criminal prosecution may be instituted, however, without a final judgment from NLRC that unfair labor practice was committed. The nature of unfair labor practice is inimical to legitimate interests of both management and the labor, including their life, their rights to self-organization, rights to bargain collectively, and otherwise deal with each other in the atmosphere of freedom and mutual respect. Unfair labor practice disrupt industrial peace. Unfair labor practice can be a crime against the state. Unfair labor practice violate their constitutional rights to the employee to self-organization. That's the nature of unfair labor practice. Let's proceed to the elements of unfair labor practice. First is the employer-employee relation exists between the offender and offended. No organizational rights can possibly be negated if employer-employee relationship is absent in the first place. Second is the act done expressly defined in the code as unfair labor practice. In other words, the act done prohibited by the code as amended, specifically in Article 248 for an employer and Article 249 for labor organization. The prohibited acts are related to the employer, right to self-organization, and the observance of collective bargain agreement. Without the elements, the act, even if unfair, are not unfair labor practice. Unfair labor practice is commonly pronounced anti-unionism, technical meaning without, as opposed to worker rights to organize without act, no matter how unfair. And now, let's proceed to the unfair labor practice committed by the employer, requiring as a condition of employment that a person or an employee shall not join a labor organization or shall withdraw from it. Shall be now full for the employer to commit any following of unfair labor practice. It shall not join labor organization or shall withdraw. Na siya condition kung i-hire ka nila kay kinahanglan nga mo-withdraw ka adtong una nimo na organization para i-hire ka nila. Next is contracting out service of function being performed by union member when such will interfere with restraints or coerence employees in exercise of their rights to self-organization. The test there is whether the employer has engaged in conduct which may reasonably be said tends to interfere with the free exercise of employers' right to self-organization. Discrimination as regards to wages, hours of works, and the terms and condition employment in order to encourage or discourage membership in any labor organization. Discrimination on the part of the employer-employee. Discrimination in the sense discourage or discourage the employee to join labor union or any organization. Dismissal, discharge, prejudice, or discrimination against the employee for having given testimony under the Labor Code under Article 248 and the 249 of the Labor Code as amended. Discrimination occurs when union members involved in the union activity is treated differently from a non-union member. A non-union member must hired. And that's all for the committed by the employer, and let's proceed to the unfair labor practice of both employer and labor organization. Interference, restraints, or coercion of employees in the exercise of their rights to self-organization. Violation of a collective bargain agreements when circumstance warrant. Initiating, dominating, assisting, or otherwise interfering with the formation or administration of any labor organization, including the giving of financial or other support to it or its organizer or supporters, violent of a collective bargain agreements when circumstances warrant. And let's proceed to the unfair labor practice committed by the labor organization. Restraints or coercion of employees in the exercise of their rights to self-organization. However, the labor organization shall have the rights to prescribe its own rule with respect to the acquisition or retention of membership. Causing or attempting to cause an employer to discriminate against an employee, including discrimination against an employee with respect to whom membership in such organization has been denied, or terminating an employee on any ground other than a usual term and the condition under which membership of continuation of membership is made available to other members. And that's all for this evening. Thank you and God bless.